LeBron James scores 51 points, Lakers torch Heat 113-97. Miami, AP, scored 51 points against his former club and the Los Angeles Lakers beat the Miami Heat 113-97 on Sunday night. James had 19 points in the first quarter to set the tone. The Lakers led by as many as 21 and never trailed. The 51 points were a season high for James, and the most he scored against Miami. He had 47 against the Heat twice. His last shot was a 32-footer with 16 seconds left, capping the 13th 50-point game of his career, including playoffs, and he threw the ball skyward at midcourt when time expired. It was James' first time winning against Miami since he left the Heat after the 2014 NBA Finals. He was 0-4 when facing the Heat since. His teams were 0-7, when including the 3 Cleveland-Miami games that he sat out for various reasons. Scored 19 points for Miami, 6-10, which has dropped 4 straight home games and is off to its second-worst start in the last 12 years. The Heat were 5-11 at this point of the 2016-17 season, the only other time they've been worse after 16 games in that span. Scored 17 points before getting ejected in the fourth quarter after throwing one of his sneakers about 15 rows deep into the crowd, while he was arguing about what he thought should have been a foul call that didn't come his way. Also had 17 points for the Heat, while added 14. Missed the game for Miami because of a right knee problem, one that will be further evaluated Monday. Missed his 7th consecutive game for the Heat because of the birth of his and wife Gabrielle Union Wade's daughter. It's possible that Wade returns to the Heat this week. Miami hasn't forgotten James, obviously. He still gets loud cheers when introduced in his former home arena, but just in case anyone in attendance needed a reminder of what's in his skill set, he put on a show. He made 8 of his first 9 shots and had the whole arsenal working: dunks in transition, step-back three-pointers, turnarounds from the baseline. But the biggest shot for the Lakers might have come from with 3:46 left. Miami had clawed within 8 and the shot clock was about to expire on the Lakers, but Ingram connected on a long jumper from the left wing to make it 104-94. From there, the only drama was whether James would get 50. And he did. Tip INS Lakers. This game is part of a long weekend of sorts in Miami for the Lakers, who arrived Saturday night after playing in Orlando and aren't scheduled to fly to Cleveland until Tuesday. Scored 19 points, Kyle Kuzma scored 15 and Ingram finished with 13. Heat. The last time Miami lost 4 straight at home was early in the 2014-15 season, which was actually a 5-game slide. Miami had the rare 5-shot possession in the third quarter, with 3 missed layups and a missed jumper, all of them rebounded by the Heat. Before Ellington made a 3-pointer, the Heat fouled 3-point shooters twice in the first half, after doing so only twice, total, in the season's first 15 games. Consistent LeBron whenever James changes teams: Cleveland to Miami in 2010, Miami to Cleveland in 2014, Cleveland to the Lakers this past summer. The same thing always happens: his new team starts 9-7. The Lakers surely hope the other thing that happens when James changes teams holds true, since the 2010-11 Heat and 2014-15 Cavs both went to the NBA Finals. Heat help played for the first time this season after finally being declared good to go following off-season sports hernia surgery. He had 4 fouls in the first half and finished with 8 points. Up next, Lakers visit Cleveland on Wednesday. The Lakers are 2-11 in their last 13 trips to Cleveland. Heat host Brooklyn on Tuesday. The Heat defeated the Nets 120-107 in Brooklyn last week. More AP NBA, and the Wizards are 5-11, and are on track to pay the luxury tax. This might call for extreme measures, like trading or, as the Washington Wizards season spirals, the franchise has started to deliver teams an impression that every player on their roster, including all-star guards John Wall and Bradley Beal, is available to discuss in trade scenarios, league sources told ESPN. Washington's preference remains to reshape the team around Wall and Beal, but poor play among key teammates is limiting their trade value and paralyzing the Wizards' efforts to make meaningful changes to a roster that no longer appears functional together, league sources said. In other words, the Wizards are finally acting rationally. There's no good enough reason they should have refused to discuss Wall and Beal trades before. That doesn't mean Washington should have traded Wall or Beal. They're good players, and the inertia of NBA trades discussions would have made a trade unlikely. For the same reason, trading those stars now remains unlikely. But what was the advantage of not even considering trading those two? Maybe the Wizards would have gotten an offer so good, they would have taken it. There's almost no downside to discussing trades, especially after setting a tone to players that trade talks are inevitable and not a reflection of a player's importance to the franchise. But, under Ernie Grunfeld, Washington has been far more reactionary to proactive. Considering dealing Wall or Beal now, when every Wizards trade value has sunk due to the team's collective stink, is too typical of this stale regime. Wall's value is extremely low relative to his star status. His Supermax extension kicks in next year and pays him through age 32. That is a terrifyingly large contract for someone who already appears to be slowing down. Trading for Wall now could trigger a that gives him a big raise this season, too. Beal remains an elite trade chip. He's just 25 and locked in the following 2 seasons at a reasonable $27,922,396 per year. But he hasn't looked as sharp on the court this season, lowering his value. Washington's other planned top players, have also underwhelmed. Porter is on an unappealing max contract, and Oubre is headed toward restricted free agency next summer. There's only moderate reason to trade for either now. So, dealing Wall or Beal could be the Wizards' way out of their jam. Or a way into an even bigger jam. It's unclear where Houston Rockets forward will finish the season this year, and nobody has stepped up to complete a deal with Daryl Morey for the aging superstar. The most logical place for Anthony to land appears to be the Los Angeles Lakers, a team of former stars now lumped around. But the Lakers haven't seemed eager to do so, nor has anyone else. Jokes around the league about where Anthony could go have been plenty, and one of the most popular refrains is that Carmelo should go to the Golden State Warriors to get his first ring. It's a ridiculous supposition on its face, but after the Warriors signed, it oddly doesn't seem completely out of the question. However, according to the Undefeated's Mark J. Spears, Golden State is not considering Carmelo. Via, Golden State Warriors forward believes there is an NBA team out there for his old USA basketball teammate that will be a better fit. Anthony previously turned down the Miami Heat and also the Portland Trail Blazers twice, sources said. As for Green's Warriors, a source said the 2-time defending champs have no interest despite having a roster spot open. Of course, he can still play in this league, Green said. There is no doubt in my mind. He's still Melo. I honestly don't know where a good basketball fit for Carmelo is anymore, largely because of his attitude about himself. It's not clear that Carmelo can be the type of player he used to be on offense, and defense is sort of out of the question. While he did take to shooting more three-pointers with the Rockets this season, he needs to go into full mode in order to stay on an NBA floor. That seems unlikely moving forward. All this leaves us with the same question: if Golden State isn't interested in Anthony, who is? We'll just have to wait and see. Look, the NBA city jerseys are not good. Most of them are gray, which is the most boring trend in uniform design in any of the 4 major sports over the last decade or so. A bunch more are just straight up ugly, or run on motifs that make sense contextually but don't push the right buttons aesthetically. But the Brooklyn Nets jerseys? Those are beautiful. On Saturday the Nets debuted their city jerseys, inspired by Brooklyn native Biggie Smalls, and published an incredible hype video that featured several players and locations around the borough. Via Twitter, the coloring on the jersey is Coogi-inspired. Coogi is a fashion brand known for similar patterns, which Biggie was fond of wearing both in music videos and on stage. What do you think? Is this Nets jersey the best city uniform? Each night in the NBA there is a lot of action, a lot to unpack. Which is why every weekday morning during the NBA season we bring you 3 things you need to know out of the night before, to keep you up on all the big happenings around the NBA. This is not serious illness the Warriors have come down with, it's just a little fall cold. Come April, when the chance to three-peat is on the line, the Warriors will be the Warriors again. Don't doubt that. But right now, the Warriors are scuffling. Is out with a strained groin. Is out with an injured toe. In his last 5 quarters of play, has shot 9 of 32, 28.1%, and he picked up a technical Sunday chirping at officials. He just is off his game and seems to be unfocused. Insert your speculation about the Green situation here. In his last 2 games is shooting 40%. On Sunday in San Antonio, neither even got the chance as the Spurs handled the Warriors without much trouble 104-92. With that, the Warriors went 0-3 on a road trip for the first time with Steve Kerr as coach, and they are 2-5 in their last 7. In those 7 games, the Warriors are allowing 112.7 points per 100 possessions, the second worst defense in the league during that stretch. On the other end of the floor, the ball is sticking on offense. I've had a dream run for 4.5 years, Kerr said. We've had such a charmed existence the last 4 seasons. So, yeah, of course, this is the toughest stretch we've been in. This is the real NBA. We haven't been in the real NBA the last few years. We've been in this dream. So now we're faced with real adversity. We've got to get out of it ourselves. The Warriors' nightmare week Monday, out loss vs Clippers, Draymond blow-up Tuesday, Draymond's suspension, narrow win over Hawks Wednesday, Curry announced out 10 more days Thursday, loss vs Rockets Friday, Draymond out with toe sprain Saturday, loss vs Mavs Sunday, loss vs Spurs. Anthony Slater, at Anthony Slater, how do they change this around? Get healthy. Curry was playing back closer to his MVP level before the groin injury, just putting him back in the lineup will spark the offense and the team. Green's return will help the defense. Durant and Thompson will find their shot at some point. Beyond that, the Warriors just need to get out of their own heads. While everyone around the NBA can talk about how they are on a cakewalk to a title, the reality is they are going to have to work for it. There are good teams in their way. That said, we aren't even to Thanksgiving yet. If the NBA season is a marathon, we are just 5.1 miles into it. It is far too early to think the Warriors are in any real trouble, or more unlikely, that they are going to make a trade and break things up. Ownership said that is not happening. The Warriors will be the Warriors again when it matters. Right now, they are facing some adversity, and that's probably good for them looking ahead towards the playoffs. Better to be tested than not. Last Wednesday night on national television, LeBron James had one of those just reminding you I am the best player on the planet games, dropping 44 on the Timberwolves, and the Lakers looked the best they have all season in a win. Saturday night, LeBron had a pedestrian 22 and did not dominate the game the same way, and the Lakers lost to the Orlando Magic. Sunday LeBron was back to his dominant ways, dropping 51 on his old team in Miami, getting Los Angeles another win. Looking at the splits, two things happen in the Lakers' wins. First, he is a more efficient shooter. For example, he shoots 32.5% from three in Laker losses, but 44.6% in victories. Or, his true shooting percentage jumps from a good 58 in losses to an insane 64.8 in wins. The second big change is his defense, and the team defense is more dialed in for Laker wins. LeBron's defensive rating is 115.6 in losses, and is 101.8% in wins. It's not just LeBron that has keyed the Lakers' improved play of late, much of that comes from better team defense overall. But he is the catalyst of the offense, and when LeBron dials it up the Lakers dangerous. When Jennifer Hudson throws a shoe, her shoe, someone else's shoe, any shoe she can find, on The Voice, it's a sign of respect. A compliment. That is not how it came off when Josh Richardson threw a shoe into the crowd Sunday. Richardson, who is having a breakout season in Miami, was frustrated. Very frustrated with the foul calls. He felt he didn't get one on a dunk attempt, then with his shoe off he fouled LeBron, with the team not winning, with a knot in his shoelace that would not come out, and with Eric Spoelstra subbing him out to get the shoe fixed and to calm down. So Richardson launched his shoe into the crowd. That's an automatic ejection. Richardson can break out the checkbook, too. A $25,000 fine is coming. But if he wants, Richardson can just tell the league office he was offering LeBron a compliment by throwing his Nikes into the crowd. Not going to work, but he can try.